Scottie, it just occurred to me that we might have to change our intro graphic to this show.
You might be right now that I think about it.
Yeah. I can think of about 3 new faces that we could do a trial run with and maybe let the people decide via vote.
Yeah, I can do some work in Canva when we're done with this.
Yeah, something maybe to consider there. Hello, everyone. This is the Pod at the Palace. Curtis Wilkerson here with Scottie Borderline back in the saddle. Thank God. He leaves for one day and all hell breaks loose with the basketball program. I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm not saying it's not.
All hell was breaking loose at my house too, man.
Oh, man, what a 24 hours. Naturally, no sooner than I stopped recording yesterday, another weird Hunter Yurachek Twitter event took place, and the Muss-USC smoke has gone from 0 to 100 real quick. It's getting dicey, folks. Here we are. Man, a lot to talk about. I know that we usually have our 3 topics for the show or whatever, and we have some listed, but we're going to kind of be all over the place here because it's kind of hard to put things in order of where we're at. Listen, we knew that Muss was going to be on the short list for this USC job, and we knew that he would have interest in this job for a lot of reasons out there on the West Coast. Things have escalated on that very, very quickly. Let's cut the crap. Muss is interviewing at USC tomorrow. That's been confirmed by multiple reports. I don't know, Scottie, I don't think he's going there for a campus tour and a PowerPoint presentation, right?
Something tells me he's probably been to USC's campus before.
I think that's probably a fair assessment of the situation.
Yeah, probably not an orientation type of deal. That might come soon though.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Usually when that kind of stuff starts getting leaked out, there's some real legs to it, and it's not a situation of he's a target or a candidate or whatever. The short list. The hot board. He's going there tomorrow. So that's problematic for those who want to keep Eric Musselman around
for sure.
The University of Arkansas. A lot of times it's a formality, man, and we'll see if that's the case here. I don't think so, but the smoke appears to probably lead to some fire here this time, even more so than some of the other things that we've talked about. I don't know, man. I mean, if Muss gets a formal offer at USC, I think he's probably going to sign on the dotted line, and maybe he would almost be an idiot not to at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And you're right when it's just, the last 24 hours have just been nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm frustrated that we're to this point.
Likewise. And
it's just it's so incredibly understood that there's a rift, a disconnect, all that on campus, between Eric and Hunter.
Yeah.
And it this started before the first video.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that video gets out, and then we're doing our homework and reach out to the UA asking for an amended contract / employment agreement or whatever, and there were no corresponding documents. And so we look at each other and we're just what
This is odd.
What are we doing? And then Hunter hops on a podcast with less than 1,000 followers on it. Don't even know who was interviewing him at all. You never see the interviewees or the interviewer's face or faces. I don't even know how many people were on that daggum thing.
No idea.
But Hunter was on it. Almost wanted to reach back out to the UA and be whose idea was this? Why was
signed
this
off on this?
Yeah, why was this signed off on? And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there was no middleman in the situation. It was just found his email, gonna reach out, and Hunter apparently had something else he wanted to say, which was right now Eric Musselman's Arkansas's basketball coach. That might change tomorrow. You'll have
Kinda
to ask him.
Just such a weird.
It's crazy, man.
Weird
it's legitimately
deal.
Crazy.
I mean, as weird as this has become, can we imagine how awkward it would be at this point if Muss is back next year?
No doubt.
Let's just say USC is nah, fam, we're going to go in a different direction, and then he comes back. It just would be a very weird deal. And that's coming from, I mean, it's no secret. Like, I'm a Muss guy. I like Muss. I've always had a good relationship with him. He's been good to me. It's just, this is strange. And, you know, I mean, just that video, and the full interview comes out tomorrow, and I'm anxious to sit down and listen to it all. And maybe there's some added context, but what was dropped there, that minute and 42-second clip or whatever it was, I mean, Muss at this point, like, he's been publicly put on blast by his athletic director. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. He's effectively had his legs cut out from underneath him in terms of recruiting.
Absolutely.
Like, every coach recruiting against Arkansas right now is just sending that video to transfers with like the crying, laughing emoji. Like, you want to go there and deal with that. He's lost a lot of good faith in the fan base as a result of a lot of this, and obviously accepting and taking an interview at USC, that'll do it, right? Mm-hmm. Especially for the, you know, if you don't want to be here, get on out of here crowd, which I understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so don't get me wrong, like I said, it's no secret that I've had a good relationship with Muss. I consider multiple guys on that staff to be friends. But the other side of the coin here is, like, Muss has brought a lot of this on himself. He absolutely has. I mean, in my opinion, Hunter Yurachek's last week or so on social media has been a little out of pocket, and we'll talk about it more, but it didn't just magically get to this point, right? I think we're smart enough guys to understand that. Like, Eric's name has been floated at numerous job openings.
I think I wrote down 5 or 6 schools.
Yeah. And that's been going back to since when? February? Maybe even earlier, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like it was at least like early to mid-February.
Yeah.
And then when we were even in Nashville, there was at least a school mentioned with Eric. So
yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, I know that's rubbed some people the wrong way. You know, kind of like, bro, are you trying to leave that bad? Like, you trying that hard to get out of here? Because if it's a leverage play for, you know, a raise or whatever, an extension or more, and like whatever, Hunter Yurachek basically just went public and told everybody on Twitter it ain't happening.
Yeah, it's not working.
So, you know, I know there's been a lot of frustration voiced about the NIL situation. There's been frustration, you know, on coaches' front about not having a new contract presented, whether that's deserved or not. That's not for me to decide. And there's also a reputation there for being difficult to work with. And so, like you said, I mean, there's dysfunction here. And there's a very clear amount of that goes on the shoulders of Eric Musselman. And so, like, I'm getting ready to talk about this Yurachek video, and then we'll talk about Muss and everything else. But I don't want it to seem like I'm piling on Hunter here.
Yeah, I think
it's a shared blame.
You've been clear with that, and I think you've been transparent and also like a voice of reason. I think on social, just feel like there's blame to go around here. It's not just this is all Eric's fault. This is all Yurachek's fault. You know, even though what Hunter has done, you know, in the last week to 10 days has just been, you know, really not ideal.
Absolutely. I guess if anything, maybe I'm a little grateful that he's made some of these moves, because it almost feels like we're going to get some finality here sooner rather than later, because it's been dragging out. It's been annoying as hell.
It has been dragging out, dude. And that's like, I wrote a note down because I wanted to make sure I said it. Like, I'm ready for this to be done.
Yes.
Like, and I wrote down, I'm ready to be done with it and a resolution to be reached in some form or fashion. I don't know if a resolution is going to be reached. There's just like, there's going to be like an official breaking point. It feels like, you know, the direction we're trending. But I mean, this has done nothing. Like, it's been a literal soap opera played out in public on Twitter. And it's done nothing, like you said, but damage the program. It feels like there's just a dark cloud hanging over the program after there was already a dark cloud over it. Maybe the sunshine was starting to peek in a little bit. You got a Josh Cohen commitment. Things kind of felt like they, I don't know if settle is the right word, but they, like, everything was kind of tempered for a minute. And you kind of started to see what was maybe the beginning of this roster getting flipped and figured out. So you can freaking turn the page from last season, which was literally, it felt like hell watching it sometimes.
Right.
but it's just like this has done nothing but damage the freaking program. And you've got kids like Keyshawn Hall, who all indications are he seems like he wants to be an Arkansas Razorback. And we're sitting at Loaf and Joe's talking about this whole situation, and then he tweets a meme of SpongeBob sitting upside down in his chair, and he's just like waiting, trying to figure out what the hell is happening.
Yeah,
like it's got like now the kid, that talented kid, is just sitting on his hands trying to figure out what in the world is going to happen for him.
Did you see Caleb Battle's tweet?
Yeah,
yeah.
We're in the same freaking boat.
Life be lifing right now.
It's lifing for sure.
That's that's where we're at, man. And you go back to that Josh Cohen commitment. That was the last time we recorded together. And yeah, I mean, things were looking up
like
then.
Ages ago.
It does. And the crazy thing about it, to me, from at least the Arkansas perspective of it, is everything was really, it was weird and uncomfortable and a little bit tense for a while there after that Muss Bus video came out. No, they weren't aware of that. We knew that and had every indication of it. Obviously, Yurachek put it out there and clarified the other day. But that was an issue. That was a problem. They got the Cohen commitment, and the message that was presented to me was, hey, you know what? Like, it's been weird. We're turning the page from that. Like, build the roster, whatever. And then to kind of double down by having this interview come out, it just seems wild. And don't get me wrong, like, Muss is pursuing that USC job, right? I mean, so that's the other part of this, okay? But was still at least at the very least trying to build the roster and recruit and just keep doing his job, whatever. Because like we've said before, like, it hasn't been a known fact whether or not Muss would be, targeted for this job, offered this job. We still don't know that for sure. Although, hey, listen, it's very much seems like it's trending that way, right? So, and this just kind of puts a wrench in all of that to where, like, we're not going to sit here and talk about transfer portal. Like, I don't care that they contacted a Dude the Arrow or whatever today because it doesn't matter. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Until they figure all this stuff out. And that's kind of where we're at. And so, to me, like, Hunter Yurachek's, like, his Muss Bus video and then the random podcast appearance, like, it just comes across to me as wild behavior for the leader of a university, whether what he is saying and doing is true or calculated, like he has a plan or whatever. It's a look that is questionable at best to kind of start spilling the tea the way he has. Like if I was in Muss's shoes, and again, like he's brought a lot of this on himself, but then for it to go public like that, like no raise, no extension, been compensated fairly. Didn't talk to him about the video we put out last week. Haha, that's my sense of humor. And then, like, he's our coach today. I don't know if he's going to be our coach tomorrow. To just put that all out there, like, that's a bold move, man.
It just like that felt so weird, Curtis. Like, not even like it wasn't an Arkansas outlet that he did this on. It wasn't like a national outlet that he did this on. It was a podcast, like I mentioned, less than 1,000 follows. I'd never heard of it before.
Right.
And it's just so, like, in the big picture of what we know about Hunter Yurachek, it just doesn't line up, right? Like, he's very much like, I'm not trying to say this as like a slight to him, but he speaks very press releasey and lawyerly. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on a podcast, like I mentioned, and just like kind of just is like, here's what's on my mind. And that video was just my sense of humor. Like, I don't know, not right now, it doesn't seem like a great time to be putting your sense of humor out there for the folks to see.
Yeah, read the room.
Like, yeah.
Read the room.
It seems like that went against what it feels like he's done since he's been here.
Yeah. I feel like that's an incredibly risky move to make unless you've just reached your wit's end with the situation, which very well could be the case.
Yeah.
B, have a pretty good idea of where things are trending with Muss and the USC situation. And C, like, you've got something cooking yourself behind the scenes, right? I think C is the most important part of that, probably. I sure as hell hope so, because like we've been hearing for weeks now that Arkansas has been putting out some feelers to people like in the event that they have a job opening to fill. You know, hopefully that's the case. You know, if this situation comes to fruition, it's so bizarre, man. Like my biggest thing, and you touched on it a minute ago, like at the end of the day, like Muss and Hunter in this pissing match, and all it's doing is hurting the program and the perception of the program and rebuilding the roster. It's a bad look. I mean, if Muss doesn't get this USC job and he comes back, like what is the message to recruits? Like, unless you're a grad transfer or a 1-year guy, right? Yeah. Like, what about the 2 freshmen who are signed? Or, you know, some of these multi-year guys that they're recruiting right now out of the portal, like, okay, so like you don't.
He's here for next year.
Yeah, like what's your situation with your athletic director? Yeah, are you just gonna dip whenever someone does give you an offer? You know, so they're not looking at giving you a rate. Like, you know, there's just a lot of red flags there that you have to work through. Or like, what's the message to donors and boosters or folks who might be, you know, compelled to contribute to NIL? What's the message to the fans at this point? I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough sell, but I guess what I'm saying is like it would still be complicated anyway after the way a lot of this has gone down. But Yurachek going public with that video and that statement makes it twice as complicated because now you can't even play the PR game and sugarcoat it and feed people crap, right? It's all out there. The dirty laundry has been aired out for everybody to see. So you can't do the spin of, oh, no, you know, it's just names are going to be floated around for jobs all the time. That's part of the business and part of doing a good job. And, you know, he's here, woo pig, hogs by night. You can't do that now. Like that is off the table. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what that would look like. And it would make for, it's going to make for some awkward conversations and press conferences and media availabilities if it were to pan out to where Muss came back. I mean, it'd be, I can't even imagine how surreal it would be.
It would be weird for us just covering the team.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're not around every day, and we really only go in that practice facility or you know, talk to Eric in, you know, press conference settings, and I'm sure he would keep it to basketball. But it would be, I would feel the weird vibe just going over there.
Yeah.
Just to catch that first official practice of the fall semester or whatever. And I don't know. Maybe it's just like agree to disagree kind of I don't know. I feel like you just kind of grin and bear it the best you could. I don't really know. That's
fake
not,
it till you make it.
But that's not a toxic. That's not a good work environment.
Yes. Yeah, especially like when you're trying to reestablish the culture of the program, which wasn't what you wanted it to be. Like when it is a top down thing, and that goes from, you know, like the head coach down to the last manager on the team and the walk-ons and everything, but it also goes to the leadership at the university and all the way down. It's like there's a fracture there. I mean, people understand that, and maybe it could be mended. I don't know, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know if that would be the case in this.
Do you know what could potentially fix it is just win
games. Yeah,
win games.
That would help.
And you know, if Eric wins games, you know, has a season like he had a couple years ago, who knows? We might lock him up again.
I would be the kind of petty to be like, dude, you cut my right foot off in recruiting with your social media stuff, and look at us now, like we still figured it out.
Yeah.
I don't know,
overcame
man.
some obstacles to get here, you know?
Right. Yeah. Battle through adversity.
Some real adversity.
Builds character.
Yeah.
I wonder how motivated the staff would be too. I say that, but like this is an instance where it's probably a good thing that the guys who Muss currently has on staff have been around him forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who might not be as compelled to be like, I gotta get off this sinking ship or whatever, you know? And then on the flip side, like, if Muss does get offered this job and takes it at USC, which, well, it feels like a real possibility here. I just don't see how Hunter Yurachek survives it without a home run type of hire, right? Like, I mean, if you're going to play the cards this way, this ain't it's not like, oh, Muss left us to go back home, which is a way you could have played it off, right? And so we're gonna go out and we're gonna get this young up and coming mid-major guy and rebuild.
Bucky McMillan, is that what you're
Bucky
saying?
McMillan, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work now.
Yeah.
It's because some people are gonna have the impression that he wanted Muss out, he forced Muss out, and there might be some truth to part of that. But again, it's a two-way street. But like, you got to go out, I think, and have a proven, successful, desirable sitting head coach, and I think you would have to do it quickly.
Right.
You ain't got time for no long drawn out search.
No doubt.
Like let's say, hypothetically speaking, of course, Muss goes to USC on Wednesday, accepts that job. You need to have your damn job filled by Monday morning at the latest.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be done because this portal ain't waiting on nobody, and
really
you don't
not.
have any players.
Yeah.
At the moment, right?
Yeah, you would have to go out and get somebody who is such a name and has cachet to the point where it feels to the people who you're competing against, where it feels like a gut punch to them. Like that, we hit bumps in the road, some potholes for sure. The road was washed out in some areas, but we got this thing back on track, and it's up from here. Like, we're not, going to let the drama and the literal soap opera on Twitter, keep the program from having success. You've got to go out and just knock it out of the freaking park. Got to.
Absolutely. You can't come off of a run to 3 straight second weekends and have one season where you go a game below 500 and then just dip back to the Pelfrey days. Like, that can't happen. Yeah. And it shouldn't have to. And I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either.
Yeah, I don't think it will, to be clear.
This Arkansas does a great job. I think, like, when you're winning games and at the very least you're competitive, people in the state appreciate it. They're hungry for, a really good team, and they're going to support the hell out of a really good team, and they're going to support the hell out of a really good coach. You just got to, I feel like, should Eric take this job, you just got to let people know that you're serious about this thing moving forward, and that you've got all this BS way in the rear view. Like, take the rear view mirror off. Yeah. And just you're not looking back anymore. You're only looking ahead, and looking ahead to, just making last season a thing of the past, and you're moving onward and upward.
For sure. What do you think is best case scenario with this for Arkansas right now? I mean, is it, because I'm reaching the point here where it's like, I almost, and I've never felt this way, because through all of this, I've always kind of held a stance of, I just hope it works out to where Muss stays, whether he's trying to leave or not, But I think I'm reaching the point where it's like, with everything that's happened here recently, it's almost like you have to rip the Band-Aid off and just
start fresh,
get that fresh start.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And I would hate it because, like you've mentioned before, like Eric's been good to you. He's been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was better to me than I deserved at the time when he got this job. And I would hate it, but I just don't feel like you can go another year with just like passive aggressiveness. Like, that's not healthy at all.
Nah.
How is this thing going to thrive with that hanging over every move that you make?
Right.
That's exactly right. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's kind of getting close to that point of no return.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see how it all shakes out here. If you've been listening to us since we started here at Natty State Sports, whether it's been on this show or when we're on with John, and a lot of these things have come up, and we've been asked about, well, who could be the replacement, whatever. I mean, we got to save some ammo here, just, in the event that we need things to talk about the rest of the week. But, like, if you've been listening, like, there have been 3 names that we've really consistently mentioned. And it's been Chris Beard, Jerome Tang, and Will Wade, in that order.
What an interesting bunch, man.
What an interesting bunch, yeah. And I distinctly remember the day where I'd been hearing Will Wade floated around out there a lot, and the question came up, and I threw that name out there, and we were talking about it, and it was the day that the LSU fan threatened to kill us all, and told us if we wound up in Baton Rouge that he would we'd wind up on a T-shirt. So I remember all that, but yeah, Beard, Tang, Wade, like those would be probably the top 3 names on the hot board. And there's been other names that I've heard floated around out there to a lesser degree, but you never know. I've heard Buzz Williams thrown around. I've heard Porter Mosier. I've heard Grant McCaslin, which that one feels a little more out there, but he was an Arkansas State coach for a minute. Brad Underwood, I've heard thrown out there. So like, there's a lot of names.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
That is an interesting one. Yeah. So, we'll see how it all shakes out. I don't think it would get that far down on the list though, honestly.
Yeah.
I just cannot see a world where Yurachek would be making the moves he's making without having some pretty strong assurances that he's got his guy.
Yeah, the man with a plan. I
would imagine it would start at the top 3 and potentially the first guy mentioned there. I don't know. And then the other thing to consider, and again, like it's only Tuesday, like we got to save stuff to talk about for the rest of the week, But you have to wonder like what it would mean for the roster. Like you still got, we talked about Caleb Battle's tweet, and you still got him, Tremont Mark, Trevin Brazil, Bay Fall, all guys who are technically still on the roster who haven't made a decision yet. I think the status quo when there's a coaching change is usually guys like that enter the portal, but then keep their options open.
Sure.
So they might hear out the next guy, but then it becomes a bidding war. I mean, it already kind of is. Like, you don't have to be in the portal to get offers from other places. We know how tampering works, but, and so that would be something to monitor. You wonder about some of the guys who have left, who, especially the guys like Devo and Blocker, who are in-state guys who have a lot of love for the program and the state. Would that potentially change some things with them? I think it might actually in at least one of those cases, depending on who they brought in. So, I mean, there's just so many layers to it that it'll be crazy to follow depending on how it all shakes out here for sure.
Caleb Battle's right though. Life is life, and buddy.
Life is life, and man. Yeah, it keeps on going.
Life's fast.
Yeah.
Like I was just taking care of my kids the other day, and then this interview comes out, and now Eric's off to USC for an interview, and this all happens like in a 24-hour span, brother. Like it's crazy. Like I wrote this on some prep earlier. Like we really like portal season around here, obviously, as you can see by the board behind me, and then the one that's close to where we work every day, it's got 70 names on it.
Yeah.
And about the only thing that we did related to that today was just cross guys off who committed to other places. Wrote a couple commitment analysis stories over the weekend. I feel silly for doing that. I think I even at one point today asked you, was like, hey, I mean, over or under 0.5 portal contacts today.
Yeah.
And we got I asked a couple different people and got split decisions on that, or split answers on that.
What did we get, 2?
I think it was 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we can't even really dive into that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Adut the Arrow is a guy that I'm really interested in. I think
know,
he's a projected first round guy in the 2025 draft, and was he testing the waters now? I think. Can't even really dive into him, and can't even think about I was wondering those names that you listed off as potential replacements if Eric leaves. I'm like, maybe I should just start looking into what kind of dudes that those guys got commitments from in the portal. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do
exactly.
until something happens. Just sitting here with my thumb up my butt. It felt like most of the day.
I was thinking about that earlier today, like Chris Beard, for example. I think about the way he recruited in the portal last year when he got that Ole Miss job. And like he went and got the Jamarian Sharp dude and Muss-USC, like the two big 7-footers and everything. And I was like, damn, like
He was making waves.
Arkansas fans would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then I think about, okay, well, maybe she should start backtracking on him or in a lot of these guys and just seeing like who have they been connected to in the portal already, like at their other schools. And on the surface, it seems like a daunting task to undertake, but got to remember, like, Muss operates so differently. Like, we got 70 some odd names on the board already. A lot of these schools has been like, a dozen, 20, 25 maybe. Mm-hmm. And so it's a little bit easier to manage, but it might hurt our content as much as we talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? I don't know. Yeah. I don't even know what to think right now.
Yeah. I think I stood up at one point today and was like, Curtis, how many of these guys do you think Chris Beard would want?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll just go circle some of those guys. Maybe we could keep an eye on it, but like I don't want to get ahead of myself. But it just feels something feels impending, and if it's not, it's just going to be. I feel like from a recruiting standpoint, I would imagine they'll keep recruiting the same way that they have been, but just sucks, man.
Yeah,
I want it to be done.
Me too.
Want a resolution to be reached. I don't even know if resolution is the right way to frame it at all, but just the up in the air, everybody throwing out different things. Like I just kind of want. I think finality is the word that I was looking for.
Yeah,
I think I'd love some finality.
Yeah, it's time. I mean, it's the season's been over for nearly 3 weeks now, and it's just been that weird radio silence, and that's what's irritated me about the whole time. Like, all right, well, if you're in, say something, and then it's just been one job after another, and some of it was fake news, and there were legs to other things. This one's real, and we'll see how it pans out. But boy, it's seeming like we might be on a plane tracking duty here pretty quick. So yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Wild times. But I bet we're going to have some clarification here pretty quick.
I would think so.
And continue to reach out to people and talk to people and try to get some information on both sides. But everybody knows he's going to be on that campus tomorrow. Like who knows how that's going to shake out. I guess we should turn our USC athletics Twitter notifications on in case they put out a picture of that man. I don't know. Heard Daniel Musselman reactivated her Twitter.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do have it's portal player news.
Okay.
Not so much related to Arkansas, but Meechie Johnson is going back to Ohio State.
Officially? Okay. Yeah. Talked about him yesterday, maybe being a Jimmy Witt candidate.
It's called a Marfo?
A Marfo. Yeah. Trilly Donovan calls it a Marfo. I love that. And I remember that dude, Marfo, because he left wherever he was at and went to Texas A&M for a year and didn't really play and then went back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting one. Maybe he just really wants to play for Diebler.
Maybe so.
Or Felix Okpara.
Maybe that. Yeah, that works too. I wonder, think about that backcourt potentially. Nice. Thornton and Meechie Johnson. That could be a...
Yeah, that would be nice. That Meechie Johnson stuff was short-lived.
Yeah, I know.
Really short-lived.
Yeah.
Found out yesterday that he had been contacted by Arkansas, so I got on the phone with the South Carolina guy I talked to, or a reporter that covered Meechie at SC. Talked to him for about 10 minutes and got some player insight, and that player insight lasted about 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much things change in a day.
For sure.
It really is. And like no 2 days are the same this time of the year, it seems like. And I'm kind of a routine-oriented guy. Like I do the same things in the morning. Just like not knowing what to expect every day. It's crazy. Like it's just, it blows me away sometimes, man. It really does.
Well, I almost feel like I'm almost anxious for us to wrap this up. And there's a reason why we aren't going as long as we normally do, because things are going to be so fluid over the next few days. It's pointless to sit here and talk about it for 2 hours. But like, we're going to stop recording, and then I'm immediately going to get on my phone and be like, I haven't been able to respond to any texts or take any calls or look at anything for the last half hour. Like, what the hell changed before we publish? you know? But we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll be here for all of it to cover it. So appreciate everybody for rocking with us. You got anything else? Any parting thoughts?
I don't.
Yeah, me either.
I'll get to work on Canva, though.
yeah, no kidding, man. You know, just had the Pot at the Palace intro queued up, and then there's Muss right as we get ready to talk about him potentially leaving. It's like, oh, yeah, we might have to make a tweak there soon. We'll see what happens.
Maybe so.
Whatever, we'll figure it out. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, and I would imagine it's going to continue to be an eventful few days here, and we'll see where it takes us. For Scottie Borderline, it's been Curtis Wilkerson at Natty State Sports, and we will catch you guys next time.